The science of repetition reveals that what we consistently say to ourselves, especially when done deliberately and rhythmically, such as once every hour, can profoundly rewire the brain through a process known as neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to adapt and reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. Every time you repeat a phrase or affirmation, especially one charged with intention and emotional resonance, you're essentially reinforcing a specific mental pathway, much like carving a trail through a dense forest. The more often you walk that trail, the clearer and more accessible it becomes. Hourly repetition taps into this process by creating frequent, consistent stimulation of the brain's attention, memory, and emotional centers, which over time can override old patterns of self-doubt, negativity, or distraction with newer, more constructive beliefs. Psychological studies have shown that repetition not only increases retention and belief in a statement, but also helps shift it from conscious thought into subconscious programming, which is where most of our daily actions and reactions stem from. This is crucial because while one-off affirmations might momentarily boost confidence or motivation, they typically fade unless embedded deeply into our psyche through repeated exposure. Saying something once an hour acts like mental weightlifting. It may feel small in the moment, but it builds significant strength and resilience over time. Furthermore, repetition aligns with principles used in cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, where consistent verbal or written affirmations are used to challenge and replace negative thought patterns. The brain cannot easily distinguish between real experiences and vividly imagined or verbalized ones, which is why repeatedly affirming something like, "I am calm and capable," can over time lead your brain to accept it as truth, even in stressful situations. From a behavioral standpoint, repetition conditions the mind to pause and check in with itself at regular intervals, shifting from autopilot mode to intentional living. Each hourly reminder becomes a micro reset that disrupts habitual mental clutter and recenters your focus, creating a rhythm of mindful awareness throughout the day. In addition, hourly repetition can trigger the release of neurochemicals such as dopamine and serotonin, especially when the phrase evokes a sense of achievement, gratitude, or self-worth, which enhances mood and motivation while lowering stress levels. Repetition also mirrors ancient practices like mantras and prayer, which have long been used to still the mind and cultivate inner clarity, suggesting that this isn't just a modern productivity hack, but a deeply rooted human strategy for mental alignment. Moreover, by attaching the repetition to the regular rhythm of time, such as every hour, you're anchoring these mental exercises to a consistent external cue, which increases the likelihood of habit formation and makes the practice easier to maintain. Over weeks and months, the act of saying something hourly evolves from a conscious discipline into a subconscious reflex, effectively shaping not just how you think but who you are. Whether you use your phrase to boost confidence, foster calm, increase gratitude, or reinforce purpose, the real power of repetition lies in its ability to sculpt your identity from the inside out. You're not just saying words, you're reshaping your inner narrative, 1 hour at a time. The power in simplicity lies in the profound impact that short, clear, and emotionally charged phrases can have on our mindset, especially when repeated frequently throughout the day, such as once every hour, because the human brain is wired to respond more effectively to concise messages than to complex or verbose ones. Simplicity allows for instant understanding, emotional resonance, and easier memorization, which is crucial when the goal is to make an affirmation stick and become a natural part of your thought process. A simple phrase like "I am enough" or "stay present" cuts through the mental noise in a way that a long, elaborate sentence simply cannot, especially in moments of stress, distraction, or emotional overwhelm. When you're busy or overwhelmed, you don't have the cognitive bandwidth to process complicated ideas, but a short and clear affirmation can slip into your consciousness like a gentle but powerful whisper, offering immediate grounding or clarity. Simplicity also reduces resistance. Our inner skeptic is less likely to argue with a clear, unambiguous statement, whereas complicated affirmations often invite doubt or analysis that dilutes their emotional impact. There's elegance in clarity. Just like a great quote or a powerful lyric, a simple phrase can encapsulate a vast emotional truth in just a few words, allowing it to be more easily repeated, internalized, and believed. Neurologically, simple language is more likely to be stored in and retrieved from long-term memory, which means that a short affirmation repeated hourly has a better chance of becoming a reflexive thought pattern over time. Simplicity also aligns with how children are taught to learn language and behavior, through short, repeatable phrases that create foundational beliefs, which shows that our minds, regardless of age, are shaped most effectively by direct, uncomplicated messaging. In spiritual and psychological traditions across cultures, such as mindfulness, stoicism, and even religious practices, mantras, prayers, and guiding truths are often short, not because the ideas behind them are shallow, but because brevity enhances their power and memorability. Saying something like, "let go," or "be still," hourly doesn't dilute its meaning. In fact, the repetition enriches it, as the phrase can take on deeper meaning in different contexts throughout your day. The beauty of simplicity is that it adapts to the moment. The same phrase can feel like motivation in the morning, reassurance in the afternoon, and reflection at night. Additionally, when you keep your affirmation simple, it becomes easier to speak it out loud with conviction and rhythm, which further increases its neurological and emotional impact. You can say it under your breath, in your mind, or even write it down quickly without interrupting your day, something not easily done with long-winded affirmations. This makes it highly compatible with the concept of hourly repetition, where the goal is to integrate the phrase into your life without it becoming a chore. Simplicity also encourages consistency, and consistency is the engine behind transformation. A 5-word phrase you say 100 times is more powerful than a 50-word affirmation you say once and forget. In a world overflowing with information, stimulation, and complexity, simple affirmations provide a moment of mental stillness, a pause, a breath, like a lighthouse cutting through the fog of constant thought. When you commit to saying a short phrase every hour, you're not just speaking into the void. You're making a deliberate, repeated choice to align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with a clear intention. That's the quiet strength of simplicity. It doesn't need to shout to be heard. Its power is in how deeply and quickly it moves through the mind and into the soul. Customizing your mantra is the essential step that transforms a generic affirmation practice into a deeply personal, emotionally resonant ritual capable of supporting your unique goals, challenges, and inner growth. Because when the words you repeat every hour are tailored specifically to your mindset, needs, and emotional state, they become far more powerful and effective at shifting your inner narrative and guiding your actions. A mantra is not just a feel-good phrase. It's a tool for conscious reprogramming of your thoughts, and like any tool, it works best when it's designed for the task at hand. Whether you're seeking calm in a chaotic life, motivation in the face of procrastination, or confidence while dealing with self-doubt, the exact words you choose to repeat matter more than you think. For example, someone navigating anxiety might benefit from a grounding phrase like, "I am safe in this moment," while someone pushing toward a goal might need something more energizing, like, "I take bold steps with clarity." The emotional relevance of your mantra determines how deeply it resonates with your subconscious. The more it reflects your current experience and desired direction, the more your mind will absorb and respond to it. Customizing your mantra begins with honest self-reflection. What thought patterns are holding you back? What emotions do you need to shift? And what identity are you trying to step into? From there, you can craft a mantra that meets you where you are while pointing to where you want to go. Importantly, your mantra should feel believable, not necessarily because you fully embody it now, but because it feels within reach. If "I am fearless" feels too far from your current state, you might start with "I am learning to trust myself," or "I face fear with courage," which creates a bridge between your present and your potential. This flexibility is one of the biggest advantages of customizing your mantra. You can soften or intensify the language based on your emotional readiness, and this makes the affirmation more effective because it bypasses resistance. Your mantra can also evolve over time. Just as your life goals and inner landscape change, so too should your affirmations. The phrase you needed last month to stay calm might now need to be replaced with one that energizes or inspires action. This dynamic nature of mantra selection keeps the practice alive and aligned with your current reality, making it far more than just a motivational gimmick. It becomes an ongoing conversation with your higher self. You can even customize your mantras based on time of day, situation, or emotional need. For example, you might use a morning mantra like, "I greet this day with purpose," a midday reminder like, "I return to focus with ease," and an evening reflection like, "I release and renew." By syncing your mantras with your daily rhythms, you create emotional touchpoints that serve as mental resets, helping you stay aligned, grounded, and intentional. Furthermore, you can experiment with the tone and style of your mantra. Some people prefer commanding language like, "I create my reality," while others resonate more with gentle, nurturing phrases like, "I am doing my best," and "that's enough." The tone should match what you need emotionally, not what sounds powerful to others. And if your goal is spiritual connection, your mantra might invoke presence or trust, like, "I am guided," or "everything unfolds in perfect time." This creative freedom makes the process of choosing your mantra not only powerful but deeply healing. It invites you to check in with yourself, to listen, and to affirm the truth you want to live by. Ultimately, customizing your mantra turns it into more than just words. It becomes a mirror of your intentions, a signal to your subconscious, and a quiet act of self-leadership repeated every hour, shaping you from the inside out. Interrupting the noise is one of the most underrated superpowers you can develop in today's overstimulated world, and repeating a simple, intentional phrase every hour is a powerful way to create micro moments of clarity, calm, and control amid the mental chaos that constantly bombards your mind. From the moment we wake up, we are immersed in an environment of noise. Digital notifications, social media comparisons, internal worries, to-do lists, opinions, deadlines, and subconscious loops of fear, doubt, or distraction that spin beneath the surface. This mental clutter accumulates quickly, making it difficult to think clearly, stay focused, or even recognize our own emotional state. Without realizing it, we move through the day on autopilot, reacting instead of responding, pulled in every direction except inward. That's where the power of hourly repetition comes in, not just as a motivational boost, but as an intentional interruption that cuts through the noise like a bell ringing in a storm, waking you up to the present moment. Saying a mantra such as "breathe and begin again," or "come back to now," every hour acts like a mental circuit breaker, stopping the momentum of unproductive or chaotic thoughts and redirecting your attention to a chosen truth or intention. This deliberate pause allows your nervous system to recalibrate, your thoughts to reset, and your awareness to return to what actually matters. It's not just about what the mantra says, it's about what it displaces. When you speak a mantra, you temporarily quiet the mental chatter and take back control of your focus, which is one of the most valuable assets you have in a distracted world. Repeating a grounding phrase hourly helps retrain your brain to develop the habit of checking in with yourself rather than constantly checking out through distractions or emotional spirals. And unlike large-scale mindfulness practices that can feel overwhelming or hard to stick to, this technique is light, accessible, and sustainable. It takes less than 10 seconds, but has the power to shift your entire mental trajectory for that moment and, over time, your entire day. It's a pattern interrupt, a self-regulation tool, and a declaration of mental boundaries all in one. This is especially important in emotional moments where stress, frustration, or anxiety can hijack your mind and lead to reactions you later regret. An hourly mantra like "I respond with calm" or "pause and choose" creates a space between stimulus and response, allowing you to act from awareness instead of impulse. Over time, these hourly check-ins become anchors, familiar touchpoints that remind you who you are, what you value, and what energy you want to bring into each situation. The more often you interrupt the noise, the more mental space you create for clarity, creativity, and connection to emerge. This practice also helps detox the mind from information overload. Rather than letting your thoughts be shaped by whatever content you last scrolled through, you start to shape them intentionally, reminding yourself of what you choose to believe, feel, or focus on. Even something as simple as "I am here," repeated every hour, can train your mind to prioritize presence over distraction, and presence is where peace, productivity, and power truly live. In a world where everything is trying to grab your attention, claiming it back, even for a few seconds every hour, is revolutionary. You're not just breaking up the noise, you're choosing to rise above it, to live intentionally instead of passively, and to create your own mental rhythm in a world that thrives on keeping you scattered. That's the quiet, consistent power of interrupting the noise. One phrase, one moment, 1 hour at a time. Tools to stay consistent are the bridge between intention and transformation, especially when it comes to integrating the practice of saying a mantra or affirmation every hour into your daily life, because even the most powerful words lose their impact if they are not repeated regularly, and consistency is what turns a practice into a habit, and a habit into a way of being. In a fast-paced world filled with endless tasks and distractions, remembering to pause every hour can be challenging, which is why having the right tools and systems in place is crucial to sustaining the momentum and making the practice effortless rather than burdensome. One of the simplest yet most effective tools is the use of reminders. Alarms or notifications set to go off every hour on your phone, smartwatch, or computer can act as gentle nudges to bring you back to your mantra and interrupt your mental autopilot. Apps like Mindfulness Bell, Aura, or even standard timer apps can be customized to chime softly, vibrate, or display a motivational phrase, turning your devices from distractions into support systems for your growth. For those who prefer something less digital, using sticky notes or physical cues, like writing your mantra on a card and placing it on your desk mirror or laptop, can visually anchor your attention and serve as frequent prompts throughout the day. Another powerful tool is habit stacking, which involves pairing your mantra with existing habits, such as saying it every time you take a sip of water, check your phone, transition between tasks, or take a bathroom break. This approach attaches the new behavior to something already ingrained, making it far easier to remember and maintain without relying solely on willpower. Journaling is another underrated but effective consistency tool. Starting or ending your day by writing your mantra, reflecting on how it helped you, or rating how present you were in your hourly check-ins can deepen your emotional connection to the practice and reinforce your commitment. Voice recordings can also be a game changer. Recording yourself saying your mantra with calm, confident energy, and playing it on loop while driving, walking, or working can imprint the affirmation into your subconscious even more powerfully. For people who are more visual or tactile, using a bracelet with beads, a ring you twist, or a clicker device can create a physical action tied to the mantra, reinforcing it through movement and touch. Accountability systems also play a big role. Whether it's sharing your practice with a friend, joining an online group, or simply tracking your check-ins on a habit tracking app like Habitica or Streaks, having a way to measure your progress or stay accountable can turn the act of hourly affirmation into a game or challenge that you look forward to. For deeper integration, creating a playlist of mantras or motivational phrases you listen to during breaks or transitions between work sessions can provide a powerful auditory reset that enhances consistency. The more you can weave your mantra into different aspects of your life, sight, sound, movement, routine, the more it becomes second nature. But beyond all the tools, the most important mindset shift is to treat this practice not as another task to complete, but as a moment of connection. A breath, a pause, a return to your center. That perspective alone can make you want to return to it, not out of obligation, but out of desire. Consistency doesn't come from perfection. It comes from structure, intention, and grace. And with the right tools to support you, saying your mantra every hour becomes less about remembering and more about returning to your truth, to your focus, and to the person you are becoming with every word. Real life impact stories bring the practice of saying a mantra every hour to life in a way that theory and advice alone cannot, because they show us the tangible transformation that can unfold when ordinary people commit to this simple yet powerful habit, turning their words into tools for healing, growth, and clarity. Take, for example, a young woman navigating severe anxiety and burnout from her high-pressure job in corporate marketing. Initially skeptical, she began repeating the phrase, "I am safe and in control," every hour after setting a silent alarm on her smartwatch. And within just 2 weeks, she noticed a significant reduction in her panic episodes and an increased ability to manage stress before it escalated. Her mind, once consumed by worst-case scenarios and self-criticism, began to anchor itself in a more empowered state, and that single phrase became her lifeline during high-stress meetings and moments of emotional overwhelm. Or consider a college student dealing with procrastination and self-doubt. He chose the mantra, "I take one step forward," and repeated it at the top of every hour while working on his thesis. That phrase reminded him that progress mattered more than perfection, and over a month, he not only completed his project, but began applying that mindset to other areas of his life, from fitness to relationships. A stay-at-home parent, overwhelmed by the monotony and emotional labor of daily caretaking, began whispering, "I am doing enough," every hour as a form of self-compassion. Over time, this helped her quiet the constant inner dialogue of inadequacy and reconnect with a sense of worth that wasn't based on productivity. Then there's the entrepreneur who struggled with fear of failure and visibility. He adopted the hourly affirmation, "I lead with purpose and courage." And after just a month of consistent use, he found himself speaking more confidently in meetings, launching a long postponed project, and even showing up online with a presence he'd previously shied away from. What all these stories share is not perfection or instant change, but gradual, compounding shifts that began the moment they chose to interrupt their thoughts with intention. One woman battling grief used the mantra, "I breathe through this," to soften the sharp edges of loss, repeating it every hour during her workday to stay grounded instead of spiraling. Another man recovering from addiction repeated, "I choose strength now," as a way to rewire his habitual impulses. And even though he sometimes forgot or skipped hours, the cumulative effect of this practice built a foundation of trust that became key in his recovery. Teachers have used hourly affirmations like, "I bring calm to my classroom," to maintain patience and reduce emotional exhaustion, while athletes have used, "I am built for this," to enhance performance and mental stamina during intense training cycles. Across all these stories, the common thread isn't that the mantra solved every problem, but that it acted as a lifeline, a reminder, a reset, something small yet powerful enough to shift the course of their thoughts, emotions, and actions in real time. These are not just inspirational anecdotes. They are proof that when you speak to yourself with purpose, regularly and deliberately, you begin to reshape your internal environment in ways that ripple outward into every part of your life. The words you choose become more than sound, they become identity. And when practiced hourly, they evolve from a habit into a powerful form of self-leadership, reminding you that no matter what chaos or challenge surrounds you, you have the ability to anchor yourself with intention. These real-life stories show that transformation doesn't require massive life changes. It often starts with one sentence, spoken every hour, that says, "This is who I choose to be." In the end, the practice of saying something every hour isn't just about speaking. It's about remembering. It's about remembering who you are, what you're capable of, and how much power you truly hold in each moment. This world will pull at your attention, stir your fears, and try to write your story for you. But every time you pause to say something intentional, something affirming, grounding, or empowering, you take the pen back. You choose presence over autopilot, clarity over chaos, and truth over noise. Start small. Pick a phrase that speaks to your current season. Keep it short and emotionally true. Set an hourly reminder, not as an obligation, but as an invitation. Don't worry if you forget a few times. This is a practice of returning, not perfection. Allow your mantra to evolve as you do. Speak it aloud when you can, whisper it silently when you need to. Write it down. Let it live in your body, your breath, your routine. Say it especially when you least feel like it. Those are often the moments it matters most. And trust the process. Real change happens in small, repeated moments of awareness. This isn't just mental training, it's soul alignment. Divine presence, source of peace within and around me, thank you for the power of words and the gift of awareness. Help me to speak life into myself every hour. Let my words be rooted in truth, soaked in grace, and anchored in purpose. May each phrase I say reset my mind, renew my strength, and realign me with who you've created me to be. When I drift, bring me back. When I forget, remind me. When I speak, let it shape not only my thoughts but my future. May this practice become a rhythm of healing, clarity, and love. Amen.